Utah Senator Markle took aim at comments Prince Harry previously made about a global assault on freedom in the U.S. A Republican senator has mocked Prince Harry for wading into U.S. politics, quipping, "I love being lectured on democracy by an actual prince." The Duke of Sussex has previously cited a rolling back of constitutional rights in the U.S. as part of a global assault on democracy and freedom. In a speech on Thursday, Markle, a Republican senator representing Utah, drew on the remarks as he critiqued bureaucratic largesse within the U.S. government. Mr. Lee championed the values of limited government, free markets, and individual liberty, which he said were absolutely instrumental in shaping the American landscape. Speaking at the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C., Mr. Lee outlined the irony of a descendant of King George III advising Americans on liberty and governance. The Republican listed restrictions the British government imposed during King George III's reign, according to the Daily Signal. He went on to discuss the expansion of the U.S. federal government, claiming it was really good for bureaucrats, where lifetime individuals who couldn't be elected to dog catchers are treated like emperors, or at least like princes. Americans deserve to be in charge of their own destiny and their own government, Mr. Lee said. His comments were met with some derision online, coming in the wake of his efforts to overturn the 2020 election through legal challenges. Text messages between the senator and senior White House aides revealed Mr. Lee pushed legally dubious schemes to keep Donald Trump, then president, in power. Mr. Lee has defended his actions by saying he was merely looking into legal arguments and noted that he ultimately voted to certify Joe Biden's victory over Mr. Trump. The Duke of Sussex sparked a backlash in his adopted home with his 2022 keynote address at the United Nations on Nelson Mandela Day. He said, "We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe, climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all, the few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many, and from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom, the cause of Mandela's life." Meghan McCain, the daughter of the late Republican Senator John McCain, was among those who criticized the comments, calling them confusing and wildly insulting to Americans. Before that, Prince Harry has again waded into U.S. politics as he blasted the rolling back of constitutional rights during his keynote speech at the UN General Assembly for Nelson Mandela Day, in New York City. The Duke of Sussex launched a thinly veiled attack on the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade ruling last month that handed abortion rights back to individual states. The 37-year-old claimed it was part of a global assault on democracy and freedom, as he also cited Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine among problems facing the world. The comments, heard by a mostly empty room at the United Nations on Monday morning, were the latest broadside at U.S. politicians. It comes after his wife Meghan told how the Duke had a guttural reaction to the Supreme Court's bombshell overturning of Roe v. Wade last month. Room at the United Nations on Monday morning, were the latest broadside at U.S. politicians. It comes after his wife Meghan told how the Duke had a guttural reaction to the Supreme Court's bombshell overturning of Roe v. Wade last month.